This is brutal. This is the second episode.
I told you it was going to be
this is tough,
I told you this was going to be not good.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. I'm Ashley.
I'm Mitch.
And we watch TV together.
Yeah, and usually we watch dating shows, but today we're taking a bit of a detour and watching Bad Influence: The Dark Side of Kid Influencing. I was reading.
You want
to... my cue cards weren't ready.
Okay.
It's actually a topic I've been pretty interested in because you just see people that, like, they don't show their kids, they talk about them, or they'll, like, cover their faces up, and then you see people that, like, their entire social media presence is, in my opinion, exploiting their children.
Right, making money off their kids.
Yeah.
And that's how they live, is from the money that they make from their kids being influencers.
And I think what we're going to be tackling today is that. And it's going to be obviously an insidious and far end of the discussion. I know there's a whole lot of in between. I'm not a parent. Probably going to be a range of perspectives coming into this.
That's a good point, is to be very clear up front. We don't have kids. So it's really easy to say what you would do if you didn't have kids.
Yeah.
I do think we're about to see someone pretty clearly exploiting their child.
Yes.
So
and other people's children, I'm pretty sure. I read a real small description of this. And I think it's not just their own kids.
We're going to have opinions, and our perspective is certainly influenced by the fact that we don't have kids. I am curious what people feel like that do have kids, and maybe with that, go into it with that mindset, so you can let us know in the comments, like, how maybe you see things slightly differently. I do want to read the blurb for this episode, because this is episode 1.
Getting blurby.
Tiffany Smith turns her preteen daughter into a YouTube star alongside a group of child influencers called The Squad. But what's the price of viral fame?
The Squad. Kind of an unoriginal name, huh?
It's interesting to me, too, because you hear a lot about these, like, kind of content houses where people, or like content groups, like Mom Talk is kind of like that, where all these people get together and the purpose is to become big influencers. And this, it sounds like it's going to be the kid version of that.
Yeah, delightful.
Should we just do it?
Let's do it.
I'm inviting my whole entire squad over today.
So I grew up watching, like, Toddlers and Tiaras. You know?
Yes.
And that was also very
Dance Moms.
exploitative of children.
Dance
Dance Moms.
yeah.
I watched Dance Moms, the original.
JoJo Zima!
Yeah, JoJo was on there. It's interesting how reality TV and then now, like, TikTok, Instagram can be used to do this kind of thing.
We also grew up on Nickelodeon, which had a lot of children working there, but there's also, like, a documentary that came out about a lot of abuse happening there as well. So
Disney
I don't think that's
Channel
coincidental.
too. Like, there are all these different places that are taking kids and turning them into stars.
Piper Raquel is an incredibly popular child influencer.
I'm not going to know any of this shit.
I'm really glad I don't know any of this, actually.
Tiffany Smith, Piper's mother, is the momager.
This is already making me uncomfortable.
It's weird because kids can't consent. So
that's the
strangest part to me, is like, how do you do something like this when your kid can't? They can say they're interested in something, but they're a child. Like, at a certain
you're supposed
point,
to protect them,
right? How are you possibly able to consent to the level of fame that some of these kids had? And then their parents take the money. And I'm not saying I don't know this specific circumstance, but a lot of times parents will literally pocket all the cash.
We were definitely directed to do stuff that isn't really right for an adult to be telling little kids to do.
They were telling kids to, like, kiss each other and shit.
That's the other part of all of this, is that it ends up being like you
a
have
weird
creepy
cult.
people
watching
this stuff, and then people that are marketing it, these, like, momagers,
this is
marketing
where predators
it.
go to see shit.
Yeah, they're playing into that because it's the money. They're making money doing it.
I would always watch those little, like, unboxing videos of, like, toys and stuff, and I was like, Mom, I want to do this.
It's so hard too, because if you have a kid that they're like, I just want to make a video like the video I'm seeing, and the problem is adults ruin it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, from a kid's eyes, it's like, oh, I just want to make a fun video, and then, like, adults
you seen the
make
numbers
and,
rolling in,
right? Adults want to be creepy
because money doesn't mean anything to like a 12-year-old, really.
No.
Piper has what I would consider her big break. She gets cast on Dance Twins.
She's the fun mom. Like, every kid wants to hang out with her.
Oh no. Not the cool mom.
Not the cool mom,
Not
man.
the cool
no,
mom.
No, that's never good. You don't want to be the cool mom, okay?
Oh, no.
This is like a really good time for you to get first place. Okay. I would like that.
But then when you're saying like she's like, well, this is my problem too, is because you don't this kid being like, I want to do this. At this point, she's been groomed into this environment effectively.
Yeah. And I would say as a kid, how do you even know? How do you know what you want because you want it? And how do you know what you want because your parents want it for you?
Yeah.
And I mean, I participated in like sports and music as a kid.
You did things that you just want, your parents wanted you to do.
Yeah. And I didn't even think that at the time. I thought, I want to do this. And then as an adult, I'm like, wow, I really didn't.
I fucking hated that.
Right.
Yeah.
That made me miserable. And I did it anyway.
Tiffany told me that she was really interested in doing YouTube.
This is so strange to me because I can't imagine watching content like this, and I don't really understand who the audience is.
Yeah.
Like, is it other kids or is it adults that have kids? Like, who's watching videos that have kids in them?
I don't know.
You know?
Who's watching videos that have... That's a legitimate question. Cause...
I mean, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't really understand. And I know, like, creepy people, right? But, like, outside of creepy people, because I don't think
normal
this is
target
all
audience?
Creepy people,
Yeah.
right?
I had never gotten this type of, like, attention on social media before. I was excited.
I mean, this is all benign. It's going to be, the beginnings is going to be like a little like...
There's a conversation around that too, though. There are a lot of people that say that putting their kid on social media in any kind of capacity is not okay.
The entire kidfluencer space is centered around Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh, how miserable would it be to live in Los Angeles with all these influencers and kidfluencers and just the fluencer lifestyle?
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
The fluencer.
Absolutely not.
I don't want to be fluent.
People would be like filming themselves in the grocery stores all the time, like walking down the street. Like, I just can't. I'm fine. Where we live, it doesn't happen. So if I saw someone doing it, I wouldn't be
You wouldn't
offended.
be affected by it, yeah.
But if it was like all kinds of people.
Well, that's the difference,
like,
though, is it
no.
happens, Scott. But you also get used to it, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Hunter became a character on Piper's channel. He was posed as her brother.
So Hunter's pretending to be Piper's brother?
I guess.
Hunter was Tiffany's very much younger boyfriend.
I was going to say Hunter seems a lot younger than Tiffany.
Yeah.
Because he seems barely adult here. I don't know how old he is, but he seems very young.
He was 19 or 20.
19 or 20. And she's like...
36.
Okay, yeah.
Because she had Piper at 26. Piper's like 10 here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Piper very quickly lands a spot on the show Manny.
So at this point, there's just legit acting in online shows.
Yes.
They're workers at this point.
Tiffany was essentially mad that another character had gotten more lines than Piper.
And then now Tiffany's acting inappropriately, probably then burning bridges for her daughter in the process on a like actual studio set.
And partly over massive ego.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a mental profile of who Tiffany is, and I'm getting a lot of information here.
Tiffany was upset. She just was barely talking to me.
That's wild, because that's an
That
adult
child?
doing that to a kid.
That is...
I can't imagine.
I realized Tiffany was unstable.
As a kid, she realized that Tiffany was unstable.
Yeah.
Which is like, it has to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
She definitely became more aggressive physically and verbally. I chose not to speak to Tiffany.
I pushed her to try to have a much healthier relationship with her family.
So
Do you
Patience...
regret that now, though?
Oh, no, Patience is the one that's related to her.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And it's falling out. Okay.
And then her wife is the one that convinced her to get back in touch with Tiffany, her sister.
Oh, because they had fallen out when they
Yes.
were... Okay, yeah.
Because Tiffany was emotionally and physically abusive. Which is also, I mean, it's up to everyone, like, how they deal with situations like that. But it is a cautionary tale, I think, pushing someone to get back in touch with an abusive family member.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I would make
also
that
depends,
choice.
like, is that what Patience told her wife?
Or maybe it's what she knows now. But,
yeah.
but
It's like you didn't always have the words for it. You don't put it
Right.
together. You're like, is it really... we have a rough relationship, or people use words, or just like...
I do think it's pretty common, though, for people to say, like, oh, you had a falling out with so-and-so.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what happened. Try and, build a bridge back with them.
Like, families
And
forever.
Sometimes that's not healthy
Yeah,
for
and sometimes
people.
it's absolutely not.
The squad was formed. A group of other child content creators that are built around Piper.
This reminds me so much of David Dobrik,
Yeah.
like Mr. Beast and people like that like create these posses around themselves, and that's who they make content with.
I mean, it's a model at this point.
Yeah.
It's like tons of people have done it, and it works for a lot of people.
Lots of other older people doing that out there on the internet.
Yeah, but this was kids, whereas David Dobrik's like an adult while he's doing it.
And it's bad for the adults How many adults have been like, wow, that was toxic or abusive or dangerous?
Right. Yeah.
And then you start doing that with children. That's recipe for disaster.
I know. But a lot of that stuff, too, even about, like, you know, David Dobrik and his crew didn't come out until much later.
Yeah.
So
at this point, it's all just, like, famous internet stuff.
Right. And everything looks good.
Yeah.
Everyone looks like they're having a great time. Everyone's successful. They're all making money.
Mm-hmm. They're all laughing. They're smiling on camera because they're
Yes.
editing out the parts where they're like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. Or they're not even saying it
Or
because
they're
they're
not-
so
yep.
afraid to upset the status quo by telling whoever that is in the center of the circle that it's not working for them.
Is absolutely, like, centralized power structures tend
not
towards
good.
this.
It's not good.
You hit 1 million subscribers in a year and a half. That's insane.
I know.
I mean, we're at like 8K, so.
Suck it, Piper Raquel.
Yeah!
Treat Myself was Piper's first music video.
Oh, God, we're doing music videos.
They always do, man. They always do. They get big enough, they do music videos.
Yeah. I'm glad I knew nothing of any of this. That I've just been living my life unaware of this corner of the internet.
I am glad you did too, because you are too old to know
I
about
know,
this. So
I know.
if you were watching this and you were like, oh yeah, for sure,
Well,
Piper
but
Raquel, I'd be
when we
like,
were younger and like that Rebecca Black like Friday came out and stuff, but that's reminding me of that. But
Yeah.
we were younger, and also I think that was more exceptional at that time when that came out.
That was different, wasn't it? The situation with that was that she went to like, it was almost like a birthday party that her mom paid for like her to get to do it for fun.
She
never
wasn't like
intended it
a
to be like
social media presence.
No.
She became vaguely famous afterwards, but this is like somebody who's like building up that brand, and then they release the music video.
Right.
Thank you so much, Walmart.
You can drive brand deals through exposure.
Capitalism, baby. It makes sense. People trust, like, kids watch that and they think, I want to be cool like Piper Raquel. I want this stuff. And then they go to their parents and they demand it.
Well, and that age group you've talked about, like, that's like the driver for popular music. It's a driver for like getting parents to buy products and stuff like that. It's a heavily influenceable market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you saw this idea that a kid needs something. If they don't have it, their life is going to be worse, you know? Like, they're going to be a different person if they have this
When you have
sweatshirt.
bullying and peer pressure and all that kind of stuff that's so rampant.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's all part of this, like, capitalist machine to make money.
I didn't really know about the monetization. YouTube was just fun for Corinne.
How wholesome.
That's wild. Because then Tiffany is making money off of her child, too.
You're telling me about the money now. Where's our money?
Yeah, she should have been sharing that money.
She's like, oh, she's getting exposure.
It's just like, it's like having a apprenticeship or an internship, right?
It's terrible.
Unpaid internship.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Because how much money they were making, I can't even fathom truly how much they were making.
Yeah.
But
well, I saw a 38 million view on a music video thing, and that's like pretty
a lot
nuts.
of money.
Yeah.
And to not share that with the other
Yeah.
families of the kids that are in these videos
That
with
feels
you
messed up.
is not okay, in my opinion.
So we're doing the pyramid. Corinne! Oh my god, are you okay?
Is it fake?
I need to go get her some water. Wake up!
Oh, that's
Oh
gotta
my
be...
god!
Are you kidding
Go to
me?
another channel to see what happened to her? No, dude, that's so dirty.
Hunter is basically the one who helps the YouTube algorithm.
It's like SEO, basically.
Yeah. Which we don't engage in.
No, really bad at it.
Yeah.
But we're also not trying to make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like a whole different world. I know this exists on YouTube, but it's not the content I watch. I don't engage with it, so it's really hard
We all just
for me to understand.
we also have literally never investigated SEO or how to do better.
I just
we
don't.
We basically just put shit up.
It's just not my thing.
Yeah. It's not my thing, SEO.
I'm also not
Self-promotion.
really like, I know. I also don't really want to like sell stuff to people.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all of that
like-
is like really, I don't know. I know that people do it, and I know there are ways to do it well, and I watch creators and I respect like what they do in terms of like sponsorships and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're not doing this to be salespeople.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell people shit.
Making videos seems fun at first. It's not fun all the time.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because, like, it's fun for us
Yeah.
most of the time. There are times where I'm like, do I want to film today? Hell no.
And then that's when we don't film.
I'm an adult, right? So I'm like, nah, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
You texted me recently and you're like, is this a DGAF kind of day? And I was like, it is.
Yes, that
It
was
is,
yesterday, I
yes.
think, yeah.
He's like, you're like, are
We
we
have to kind of
filming?
leave your shit at the door, like because we're not being fake, But if it's a bad enough date, we're not filming.
We're not filming.
Yeah.
But then these are kids. They don't have the option not to film.
And their parents are like, get out there. Suck it up. That kind
You're
of crap.
filming.
Yeah.
Right.
Eventually it became, you're just being told what to do, like you're a puppet.
It's got to be hard too, because if at first it's like, you're
Jesus.
so funny, you're so good at this, like,
You're wrong, do it
and
better.
Then all of a sudden it's no, like you're going to do it my way and you're not doing it right.
We knew you're supposed to have hours you're supposed to work. You're supposed to have food.
It's the thing professional sets are held to. Even though there's still places where exploitation occurs, they're held to different standards.
Yeah.
And then when you have something like
It's more
this,
documented.
I mean,
yeah.
right. What do you do?
It's like the gig work of entertainment, effectively, where then there isn't as much oversight.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We don't even have an employee handbook.
We don't.
You know, who knows what level of abuse and exploitation is happening here?
Our dog Jerry is head of HR, and I'm going to tell you right now, he does not do a good job.
Yeah, he mostly just farts in our faces. So
he was a Nepo
you're snoring
hire.
him at Nepo hire. Oh, HR Nepo hire? That's a nightmare.
That's bad.
Yeah.
They believed that they were outside of the arena where those laws applied.
It is interesting though, like how much social media and like content creation has kind of challenged structures that were not in place to support it.
Yeah.
Because it's a completely different way of making money. There are a lot of things that like aren't wouldn't have explicitly included anything related to social media or content.
Well, nothing's been updated
exist.
basically since like the social media world has come around. Very few laws are keeping up with, or
so you have to figure out how to interpret a law based on these new situations.
Yeah.
And some people are probably doing that creatively.
Once the squad started really making money, it became about the numbers.
Okay.
How many people can we get to watch?
This is going to get a lot worse. This first episode is going to be a lot more basic, but I can see this is going to get bad pretty quick.
She's a loser. No, I'm not a loser, Frank.
Frank the pug is Tiffany holding the dog.
Calling her own kid a loser.
What the hell? Jerry would never. Jerry's
Dogs
a love.
would never. That pug would
yeah,
never.
That pug's not that. Pug's just trying to breathe. Okay.
Yeah, it's really using all its energy to breathe.
Yeah, so that pug doesn't have energy for bullying children. But she actually is already like really cruel and mean to people. So for her, just doing it in the pug voice is not much of a shift.
It's a way to shirk responsibility.
And do it on camera.
Yeah.
Because if the mom is sitting there saying these things, you can see it for what it is.
Tiffany really had like a fascination with Gavin, but she wouldn't do this around parents.
Yeah.
Of course not, because you're only going to do it around kids, and then if they tell on you, you're going to say that they're exaggerating or lying or whatever.
It's only episode 1.
How many episodes are there? I can't
3.
handle much.
3 episodes.
Corinne got kicked from the group in a group text.
So they're icing out a child.
What the fuck?
Calling Corinne a piece of shit on the bottom of their shoe, and like Corinne was a backstabber and Corinne was a bad friend.
Bullying a child.
We were like really scared, like, well, what if she does that to me?
Yeah, absolutely. They're children.
They're children.
Most adults can't handle speaking out when they're threatened. Yeah. Children certainly can't.
They shouldn't have to, too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They're being put in a situation they should never be put into.
So we were on my live stream having a good time, and then it took a really unexpected turn.
No,
she forced herself on me.
Did not kiss that child. No, stop.
What the fuck?
She did not kiss that child on camera.
Wow, dude. Hunter Hill and Piper Raquel, via their attorney, declined to be interviewed to provide a comment for this series.
Of course they did.
Tiffany Smith has publicly denied the accounts of the former squad members and their parents.
Of course she
Even
does.
though we just saw a video of her forcing herself on a child. Right? Because Reagan's a child at that point.
Yeah.
Like a teenager.
I'm pretty sure that Reagan is a child at that point.
Well, Hunter was 20, and I think Reagan was talking about looking up, 19 or 20. Reagan was talking about looking up to him.
Even if Reagan is not a child in those clips, even if Reagan is technically like 18 or over.
It's still messed up.
And you can see him pulling away from her, and she does it again.
Yeah.
You can't just force someone to kiss you. Like, that's assault.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old. And then if Reagan is also under 18, then that.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Well, that's a disturbing first episode.
I've always naturally loved the idea of being able to kind of put yourself out there for everybody to see.
I feel similarly, and I'm glad that there are people that feel that way, because a lot of people are like, oh, don't share things.
Yeah.
But like Reagan transitioned, and that's something that by virtue of him sharing what he went through, there are people that feel, I'm sure, so supported and close to that, and they feel less alone. And I feel like that's one of the positive things about social media, is that like truly you can make content that like makes people feel more comfortable, or like, oh, I feel that way too. Or even if you feel differently, it can end up feeling like you have a community when maybe you don't in your day-to-day life, or maybe you do, but it's not the same.
When are you gonna get the surgery? Are you gonna get surgery? Just multiple questions about my transitioning in my body.
I don't know why you would ever say anything even lightly sexual to a child.
Yeah.
Like, why?
No, absolutely.
Don't do it. That's disgusting. Oh, and she's giving children alcohol too. Excellent. Excellent. Love this.
I definitely get drunk. Tiffany's drunk.
Jesus Christ.
And I want to come be involved. Let me be in the stream. And she like sat on the couch with us.
Oh, I mean, she seems like somebody who's addicted to power, honestly.
Yeah, it does.
And that's
like
what everything is. It's the pageants. It's the having your kid go through all the pageants and like pulling the strings, kind of psychologically torturing them, and then forcing them to be a influencer, and then assaulting people that are near your child.
Then the kiss happened, and I was 17 years old when this happened.
17 years old. And again, inappropriate behavior even between two adults.
Yeah.
I definitely was very realistic in that point of like, I know that this is wrong.
Yeah. Immediate gut feeling.
Because he's live streaming, so there's no way to not...
Definite NOs from my supporters. They were like, this boy's 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he pulled away, and she pulled him back in. Like, that's not okay. Yeah. These are not okay. You have to have consent.
Then he's immediately fearing that his career is going to be ruined, even though she's the one assaulting him.
Yeah, absolutely, because now he's caught up in this situation.
Yeah. I didn't go to the police because I think that I was just very scared.
And realistically, it's hard to say whether or not she would have been held accountable.
Yeah, it is hard to say. It depends on the state you're in, too, in some cases.
Well, in California, but never talked to her after that again. Wow.
If someone could erase us from the internet, then what else could they get away with?
Oh, so he feels like she erased it from the internet.
Interesting.
Like her influence erased it, which maybe is true. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you can because you can flag videos and stuff, basically saying that it's like copyrighted material or whatever else. And if the algorithm masters agree with you, then shit just gets taken down.
I'm surprised though that I'm sure people are screenshotting stuff, and you know what I mean. Like,
well, I mean, it exists in a way because we just saw
that's true
some imagery of it.
Yeah. So it was somewhere.
I mean, that's when people say the internet is, it's not going to be.
The way that Tiffany Smith was able to build this brand, strategically, it was brilliant.
It's hard because the person they have talking about content strategy, it comes off as like a little bit jarring when you go from Tiffany kissing a child
to saying the marketing is genius.
It is a little bit rough watching it.
This is an uncomfortable watch.
And it's not that person's fault because they didn't edit the documentary, and I know they're editing it to be like sensational, but it feels gross having those two things so closely like put together.
Tiffany was the mastermind. You can look at all the videos. They're copycat videos of other creators.
So she's not really a mastermind. She's a fake. She's a grifter.
I go to the plants. What? With who? Piper.
And this is where she's setting up the kid that she's weirdly obsessed with her daughter. This is weird.
This is so strange because I just don't crush content is like not a thing.
That's a thing?
We're too old. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Crush content.
Yeah.
I've heard of this before with like older creators where people will pretend that they're in relationships because people want to see the relationship content and like the lovey-dovey, but they're not actually even together.
Yeah, it's just like a moment that
it's
then
a marketing
you can market.
Strategy. Yeah.
Tiffany decided Sawyer needed a ship, so Tiffany chose Indy Star to come into the squad to be a crush for Sawyer.
One of the hallmarks of cults is controlling who people are with. So even though these are like fake relationships, they're literally orchestrating who goes with who.
Yeah.
Who is paired off with who. I mean, this is following the model of a cult in a lot of ways.
Whether she liked me or not, I'm sure it was awful for her too.
Yeah.
It would be awful.
Because you're being pimped out effectively.
Absolutely. And if you did like the person, it would probably be like pretty hard to maintain that when you're put in all these awkward scenarios and you don't want to be in the scenario you're in. So there's an icky feeling regardless of how you feel about that person, like outside of it.
Because that's like, you know, it shouldn't be happening in a way, but you don't know how the words to explain
Feels
it or
wrong.
why. Or
Right.
you don't have the power to because you're a child and you have all these adults that are pushing you into these weird spots.
Or you like want to be famous.
Yeah.
You want to like make your parents happy. You
Yeah.
want to, you know, have all these kids look up to you. You want to be cool.
And then like Hunter's running around filming this and they're orchestrating all this. It's so weird.
I can't imagine filming kids doing this too. Like that's
Yeah.
another kind of weird thing where I'm like I
Like the
can't imagine.
voyeurism here is strange.
Right.
Hunter getting that through the door like it's a fucking like The Office or something.
Tiffany really liked Gavin.
My body language is getting more closed. I'm like, no.
This sucks. I don't want to be here anymore.
They're handcuffing the children together for a gag.
It was my parents who pulled me out of a toxic environment, which I'm super glad they did.
Gavin just said he's
Peaced out.
Yeah, his parents
Gavin's
pulled him
parents
out.
were like, "Fuck this shit,
That's
man. You're
weird.
done."
Yeah, and Gavin expressed happiness for leaving.
Walker started off mostly booking commercials, doing short films.
I end up watching this and feeling like I don't know how you have kids in media at all without it being exploitative.
Yeah.
And this really, I mean, I don't know how you reconcile that because I know there's some kids that want to act, but like kids want to do a lot of stuff they shouldn't be allowed to do.
Yeah. I want to drive a car. No.
No, right.
Too young.
And this ends up feeling like that for me. And I'm not sure if it's just because this is so gross that it's like altering my perception.
It makes you want to have
but-
no child actors ever.
Yeah. I'm like, do we need children in anything at this point?
You
like,
know, there's a common complaint we have, and I think a lot of people do too, when you're watching a show about like high schoolers and you're like, oh, all those people that are playing in the show are like 25, 26, 27. But I'd rather that than children being exploited.
I agree
honestly.
at this point, and I have said that to you before. I've been like, come on, this person's 30. They're not in middle school. I said that to you about a horror movie I started watching recently. I was like, are these supposed to be children?
Yeah,
but
because you
like,
couldn't tell.
Yeah, I guess I do prefer that.
Yeah. I know it's obviously like if you're going to get like an actual child in like a movie. But again, there's massive protections around that comparatively. And even then, it's often not enough. But it's better than this. Because this is just relying on parents doing the right thing.
My first impressions of Tiffany, she seemed very nice.
That's because they don't show you their true self until they have you wrapped around their finger.
It's also hard because like people are so complicated. She could be a cat lover and could have done something very supportive and at the same time could be manipulative in other contexts.
Yeah.
I think people see like, especially with people they don't know very well, they'll see like one instance where someone's kind and they'll think they're a kind person.
Well, because it's all the information you have to go off of.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay, that seems like a positive thing. This is why you don't trust people.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember that, everybody watching this, don't trust people.
You just can't.
Like she was asking us when we were gonna do more than kissing, and
they're kids.
That's weird.
We don't want to be doing these things that you're telling us to.
Yeah.
And kids should be
Especially
able to go at
when
their
the-
own pace with
Exactly.
like building a relationship. And if
Yeah.
they've met at 12, 13, it doesn't really make sense to be like pushing them and asking them questions like that.
absolutely.
They're children.
When you have an amplified audience, it is really, really hard to distinguish what relationships are real.
Yeah, that would be incredibly difficult. And especially as a kid, who's using you? Who's your real friend? Like, who wants to be around you because they want to be around you and not because of your brand deals and your, you know, like Insta followers?
Everything becomes clouded.
That's hard for adults.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible.
She survived Dance Moms.
She wasn't a main one on Dance Moms.
Well, still being anywhere near that.
Although some
Once
of
or
them are
twice.
okay. I would argue even JoJo's doing... You know, she's all
Nah.
She's doing her thing.
Vinky Pop! Sorry, my JoJo Siwa needs work.
I liked Karma. That's my hot take for today.
I don't know who Karma is.
That's her song.
Oh,
Karma's a
okay.
bitch.
All right. Should've known better.
It was very catchy.
Yeah.
And so if you can build that cast of relevant influencers around you, build them up, and then they funnel into you.
It's like an MLM, or like
It
a pyramid
is.
scheme in
It
a way.
is. Honestly, if you had another tertiary layer there, it becomes a pyramid in 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
Yep.
They wanted you to pay 10% of your child's earnings to Hunter.
Holy shit, Hunter is making cash.
I believe that is a standard management fee.
Yeah. No, but like Tiffany alone was making $300 to $500 a month. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiffany and Hunter take percentages on all of the kids' channels.
There's the pyramid.
There's the pyramid. Yep.
Tiffany wanted more.
Oh my God. What is it with people
Yeah, I know.
that they want more and they already have so much? Like, I don't understand.
Too much.
Why do you want more money?
Cases.
Why do you need it? What is it for at a certain point? And you're exploiting a whole bunch of kids, including your own child, to do it. I suppose I should say if the documentary is accurate. Because this is all...
Allegedly.
Instructing him to give the girls bigger boobs, smaller waist, to make her butt bigger.
For the edits?
For the thumbnails.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, sex sells and children should just like never be in the same space together.
It kind of became normalized to the weirdness.
Oh wow, she looks like she's living with some regrets there.
Well, because how can you even, it's like
Yeah.
she's realizing the weight of her words while she's saying
Yeah.
them. And that is heavy as an adult in
Yeah.
that scenario to not realize
You
what was happening.
shoulda
Like,
known.
wow,
Yeah.
dude.
When we think of these child content creators, we often imagine, well, it's just other kids that are following them.
It's not other kids, though.
Yeah, this is where they're getting to the dark side.
Yeah.
I think parents kind of delude themselves about that because to
yeah.
confront the reality.
This is one of the primary reasons to not put anything about your kid on the internet.
Absolutely. And it's
Or
it's a
very
reason-
little or very controlled.
It's a reason a lot of people don't even put their kids' faces on the
Yeah,
internet.
yeah.
They'll cover them with like emojis to be able to post,
Mhm.
you know, like a family photo.
And now
or
with like
something.
deepfake technology and stuff, you have to
Yeah.
be careful.
Absolutely.
I thought Megan was a girl fan for a while until I found out that he was like an older male.
Yep. Catfish.
You can get stuff too if you send him pictures.
Tiffany said that?
But he's a pervert. Like, she knew he was a pervert.
I
Jesus
believe the
Christ.
parents often know. I'm not going to say always. I don't know everyone's situation, but I think parents often know and play into it because they want the free stuff, they
Yeah.
want the money, and they don't care about what the reality is.
Yeah. Or how they're also deluding themselves into thinking it's not as dangerous as it is, potentially.
Sure.
Because you start feeding a stalker and that can get bad.
Or they don't care. At a certain
Yeah.
point, your kid's a commodity.
Yeah.
And that's
well,
what
that's
it feels
what's
like has
happened here is
happened.
commodification of the children, yeah.
And the crazy thing is they're making so much money, they don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Like there's no, and not that you ever would need to do this, but they can afford to pay for all that stuff on their own.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Corinne came home and asked me why old men like to smell underwear.
Oh God.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, and kids say weird stuff, so you
Yeah.
don't often know. Like they'll pick up something from their friend or whatever, and it's like, where does this come from
Yeah.
exactly?
Tiffany was like, I have to go to the post office and drop off some things.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me? Dude, that is so fucked up. How is she not in jail right now?
I don't know.
This is nuts.
Is that illegal? I mean, it feels like it should be, and it also feels like that is like a weird.
I don't know.
I don't know.
She's like, "Ugh, stop being so dramatic."
It's definitely not dramatic to think that that is so dangerous and so disgusting, and I can't believe that a parent would put their kid in a situation like
It's
that.
really hard to watch.
Should adults be able to subscribe to exclusive content of minors?
Should minors even be able to have exclusive content on a platform? Probably not.
Out of Australia, 60% of images found on predators' computers were from social media.
There you go.
Yep.
It's the shit that people put out for free.
People have been talking about this for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like, this isn't a new concept that predators go online and they save and bookmark and whatever.
92% in this one instance that they showed of the teenagers' viewers were
Adult
men.
men. Absolutely. People are fucking creepy,
Okay, so
man.
before when I was like
People
children
are
or other
creepy.
parents, no, it's mostly just predators.
Girls who are dancers or gymnasts definitely have this audience that is there for the wrong reasons.
I'd heard that about gymnasts and dancers too. That,
Really?
like, yeah, and depending on like the thumbnail for like a young gymnast or a dancer will mean like more clicks, and the more sexual or provocative the
Yeah.
pose is, the more
you'll
like
get
views, the
follows
more
and stuff.
clicks.
Wow.
Yeah. And people know that, adults know that. I'm not sure. Tiffany probably knew that, may have
Yeah.
known that. And then they use it in order to sell their
Well,
content to predators.
You can extrapolate from what we're seeing here that she did know that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They don't care. All they know is we're getting more views. They don't care how those come in.
Yeah.
Like, truly don't.
They just don't know why parents would want to participate in that.
Money.
Money.
Because they don't give a fuck.
Power.
Anybody doing that does not give a
Popularity.
fuck. Especially if you're aware of it.
I don't know how they can't be.
I
And I
know.
don't know that I would accept someone saying that they didn't know or
Yeah.
don't know in this day and age.
Especially when you're in that circle and you're making that much money on it and you're pushing
Yeah.
that crap.
And it's almost your responsibility to know. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
negligent if
well,
you
again,
don't
I'm not
know.
a parent, so some of this is like news to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a kid and I've never
You
had
don't
to
have to
think
know.
about it.
Right.
If you bet your ass if I had a kid, I'd be protecting it with all my power.
Right.
And that includes like looking out for motherfuckers like that.
Yeah.
I've heard her say several times she did not want to film. She wanted to move back to Georgia.
This is starting to look more and more sad.
It's sad.
I mean, for Piper, because like we are not going to hear from Piper. We're only going to hear about her from other people because she's too close to her mom, Tiffany.
Yeah.
I
think
wouldn't be
she's-
surprised if at some point in the future she gets out of that and is like, this is the hell I lived in.
I think she's also still underage. I think
Yeah.
she's still under 18. I think
Okay.
she's still 17.
Okay.
Is what I was reading somewhere. So like the other problem with this is like even if she wanted to
She's
get away from her
still a
mom, how
kid.
could she?
Yeah.
During COVID is when I hit 1 million on YouTube.
People are looking for connection. And
Yeah.
it makes sense why, and it's like the same reason why a lot of people's YouTube channels took off at that point.
Yeah,
because
people
everybody's
felt
stuck inside.
isolated.
Yeah.
That's really more when I started watching YouTube too, was
Yeah.
around COVID time. Like I watched it before that, but
not as much. And now you just never really went back.
Yeah. I still watch it just as much as I always
Yeah.
did. If anything, it's taken the place of a lot of regular
lot of
TV
TV,
shows for
yeah.
me. So I'm not surprised that they found the same situation.
The amount of videos we were filming became longer. The workload became more and more and more.
Which is so weird because at this point they're making enough money they don't have to do this.
I know.
Like, they don't have to be putting out all these videos. They don't have to be exploiting these kids
Yeah.
worse than they've ever exploited them. There's no purpose to that.
Based on the numbers they're reporting, Piper and Tiffany could retire and never work again
Yeah,
another day in their
absolutely.
lives.
And yet it's never enough.
I know.
It's never enough for people.
When I became a part of the squad during COVID, I was extremely grateful.
It's the other problem. You can't say anything because you're so grateful you're being included.
Yeah.
You're so grateful that you have these friends, that you have this platform you didn't have before. You say anything, you lose that. And they know that because they've seen it with other kids.
You
Like
get
Gavin,
ostracized.
who, right.
Yeah.
Like, or Corinne, who gets
Yeah.
bullied online then because they're upset with her.
But there was a bigger sort of play going on here of like, we're connecting with Piper and Tiffany.
So everyone's seeing connection.
Yeah.
And they're willing to overlook all of these red flags for it. And that too feels very culty to me.
Like, and then again, cult environments spring up when people are desperate. COVID made a lot of people desperate, lonely, looking for connection. And when
Yeah.
you're seeking that, that's the easiest time to exploit people.
We're talking about life-changing money. You kind of don't know what to do at first. Like, oh my goodness, is this real?
Is it worth it? The
Yeah.
life-changing money, though? Like, is it worth what you sold to get it?
Well, the reason they're on this documentary is probably because they would say no.
Yeah. It's just frustrating to watch because, like,
Yeah.
it's easy. I feel frustrated that I'm watching them in this beautiful big house
Yeah.
that they bought from exploiting their child. And, like, watching that, I can't help, even if they do regret it, I can't help but feel angry at people
Yeah.
that have done that because I don't believe that they didn't know they were doing it while it was happening. And that's after Tiffany had kissed a child
Yeah.
on a live. This is
Well
after Tiffany had been bullying another child
Yeah.
online. I mean, this is like, there's so many red flags. It's a little bit frustrating to watch these people just completely ignore them.
You're gonna need to keep giving the audience what they want to see.
The audience is creepy men.
I know, I was going to say
dude.
the audience is creepy.
It's creepy men. You're giving creepy predator men what they want to see. That's so
There's a
messed
reason why
up.
Tiffany pushed the content, and according to the people in the previous episode.
You look at a lot of influencers, there is a pressure to outdo yourself every day.
Not us.
Well,
I
we're
want to
also-
undo myself every day.
That's the problem with like pranking YouTube. That's the problem
Yeah.
with like the shipping
Escalation.
content.
Yeah.
Right. Is that, yeah, at a certain point, if it's escalation based, you can't outdo yourself every time. You can't
Yeah.
make it bigger every time. It's not going to be, you know.
Yeah. We're steady like a boat. We're just sailing in the open ocean. Not a care in the world, no icebergs.
As time went on, Tiffany started getting more strict and more controlling.
About parent access?
Yeah, because she doesn't want him to see it.
Yeah.
Because she knows that there will be certain parents that are going to be upset by what they see. So to prevent that, she says they're not allowed.
Well, and you have Gavin, whose parents pulled him out, and she was probably sensitive to that one because she was obsessed with Gavin.
Yeah.
And then, or allegedly.
Allegedly. All allegedly.
Like, you're brainwashed and you're just like, this seems right, but it also seems wrong. Like, little by little, shit got weird.
All right, Jerry would also like to have some input.
Jerry also thinks this is fucked up. Jerry thinks this is fucked up.
Jerry was sleeping, but he's woken up now and he's ready to resume his HR duties.
Oh, yeah. He's just here for an observation.
He's learning. This is what not to do, Jerry.
Yeah.
For the thumbnail, Tiffany wanted to see my bra. I just followed along because Tiffany's the adult. She knows what to do.
And you have a really controlling adult, so you're creating a scenario where none of these kids feel like they can say no, ever. And their parents aren't there, so they have no backup.
There's no oversight.
The pranks were fun to film when you were the one pranking people.
Yeah, it's not fun when you're getting pranked.
That's the way pranks work.
Absolutely. But it's, if you're getting pranked once in a while and you're pranking all the time, then you're having fun most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you put up with it when you're the butt of the joke.
And then you're like, oh, it happens to all of us. Deal with it.
Deal with it. Exactly.
One of the memorable pranks was my friend broke her leg prank. And then, like, she got taken off in an ambulance that we had rented.
Oh, rented. Okay.
That's traumatic.
Why are they pranking the kids like that?
I can't believe that they would do something like this and think it's okay.
They hired an ambulance?
Wow, dude. I don't know what that kind of stress does to you.
I could see it in your eyes. The kids are like crying and shit.
It's not okay. I hate being pranked anyway, but I can't imagine dealing with that as
no
like a
pranks,
child.
no tickles.
And then being told it's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, you feel like shit right now? No, it's funny actually. Hilarious.
Like the getting arrested by the police prank.
People weren't informed that it was a prank.
Nobody was? What the hell, dude?
Lev got arrested, and Jensen definitely thought that it was real.
And then he's the butt of the joke because he cares about his friend. How horrible, honestly.
What the hell? It's psychological torture.
They give one of these kids a panic attack.
Yeah.
The other kid is just sobbing uncontrollably while everyone else is shocked and has no idea what to do. No, man. I'm so glad neither of us
so
have ever
Lev
been
did
prank
know.
people.
I'm like, they'll grow up eventually.
They'll grow up eventually. Great. That's a great attitude, cop, to take against kids. They'll grow up eventually. Like, how far does that extend, truly? Like, that thought pattern? Does that extend to your own kids? Like, what do you... I'm sorry. That's horrible.
The actor's acting like a cop. So, honestly, good for the role. I'll get over it.
Then when we got home, I got a phone call threatening our position in the squad.
You step out of line once, you get ostracized. Dude,
It's hard, I'm sure, as a parent, too, because if your kid does view these people as their friends and their family and things like that...
Then they're giving pressure on you
to
just make nice.
Honestly, it just makes me feel like good on Gavin's parents for pulling that plug early.
Yeah.
A lot earlier than some of these other people did. And still not early enough, right?
Absolutely.
He's like, I love it there. I love making YouTube videos. This is my friend group.
Yeah, it's exactly what
you're
you're
taking
saying.
it away from my friends.
We thought if we left together, maybe she won't try to tear our kids down.
I don't bet on it. I bet she tries to tear those kids down regardless.
Dude, she's a master manipulator, though.
Well, money is a master manipulator.
It's possible that was it, too.
She's an agent of money.
Yeah.
Jensen had Tiffany in his ear telling him that his mom wants all of his money.
Oh, fuck, dude. But that's what the moms are talking about, how she's, like, pitting people against each other. Wow.
This feels horrible.
This
Can't
is
believe,
disgusting.
like, using children as a tool of manipulation.
Her outbursts seemed to get worse. She was like kind of lost it at that point.
And the power slips. People like that tend to lose it. Although it's also, I'm wondering if that's how much of that is her willing to see it versus before when she was on the payroll and part of the cult where she was not willing to see the reality in front of her.
Maybe.
That is her expressed reality, though.
Plus Piper asking me to come in. I just didn't want to leave her. I felt bad for her.
She felt bad for Piper. Because Piper, being the child of a person like that, she's experiencing all of it all the time.
And she's the center of all of it, too.
Yeah.
So my hunch would be she's in a lot more videos than her kids are in. The expectations on her are a lot higher
She
than
has no freedom. Her identity is wrapped up in all this.
And no safety.
Allegedly.
She lives in it 24/7, too, right? Whereas other kids get to go home, and maybe there's a sense of normalcy when they're not
And maybe
there.
their parent is really supportive of them and cares for them and stuff.
Yeah. And then Piper allegedly does not have that.
Yeah.
When we left, not one of the kids could talk to Sophie.
Classic cult.
So sad.
Cut out people that leave.
Because she's just a kid. And she's not understanding why all this stuff is happening.
Where
and it
she
probably
is still
feels like the
dealing
end of
with
the
it.
world, right? It feels like all your friends, everything that you did, your whole life is just gone.
I begged my mom to go back. I miss Piper. I want to go back. I want to go back. And she was like, we are not going back. You're not going back to that place. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because... Yeah, because Sophie, they were talking about, like, they shared all sorts of stuff, and Sophie probably heard... That's why she's saying to her mom, like, I wish we could adopt her and leave, because she's hearing about how bad Piper feels in her life.
Yeah.
Piper had some days where she would just cry.
No, this is so sad, dude.
What am I doing here? I'm not even making the ideas. You know, I'm just being told what to do.
All the creative freedom, the positive things about YouTube, and like the cool things about being a kid and being able to come up with your own ideas.
It's all ripped away.
All taken away. Yeah.
Yes, I did leave Piper Raquel's squad, but no hate to anyone. We're all on good terms for now.
For now!
He's like,
holy shit.
Maybe not forever.
That's a kid that's seen what's happened to other people and knows it might be coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been told
that
he's not allowed to talk to certain people, that he has to unfollow certain people. Like, he knows what goes on when you leave.
I didn't really know Tiffany until after we moved. I knew what patients had told me previously, but I hadn't seen that behavior exhibited.
You have to believe people, and they tell you that someone was abusive to them. You have to believe people. I understand people why people are like, you should repair your relationship, or this is going to be okay. Like, if someone tells you that they've been abused by someone, no. Just don't.
You owe me a fucking apology, Eliana, because you are a disrespectful little bitch.
Some Alec Baldwin level bullshit is what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. I don't know what's going on here.
Who's saying that?
Hunter.
Fuck
and
Hunter,
he does
dude.
know because he's filming the whole thing.
Yeah, and he's orchestrating it. He's participating in the control and the abuse.
Half of the kids that I'm going to say raised in the social media world and cared about and loved more than anything, because I don't have anything, just fucking quit on me.
I don't know how to, like, reconcile the fact that clearly Tiffany is controlling and manipulating all these people
Hunter's
with the fact
also probably
that they're adults participating in it. Hunter also, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's an adult at this point.
Yeah.
Granted, still young enough to be Tiffany's kid.
And potentially being groomed by her, but regardless, abusing and participating in the abuse of the children. And that just, like, reeks of me of, like, he's losing money from the pullout more than actually giving a shit. Maybe he believes he does, but like,
and
honestly,
he's gonna have to deal with the wrath of Tiffany afterwards.
How'd you let this happen?
Right.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Piper. We left her there with a fucking monster.
That's so sad. She had to protect her own daughter and get her out of the situation, but then you're also leaving a kid there that you know is not in a good situation.
Not in a healthy place.
Right.
Claire used to talk and argue and, normal kid things. It's like she went mute.
Because you're processing all the damage of everything.
Yeah.
My kid hates social media.
I was expecting this as the fallout. They're just all like, because they're traumatized by what happened.
Absolutely.
Because it was that bad.
And it's sad because it's stuff that they loved, like whether it's sharing your experiences with other kids or whether it's acting or performing, like whatever it is for these kids, it's getting ruined because of the toxicity created by adults in this scenario.
Yeah.
I ended up filing for divorce so I could get legal custody of my son and protect him.
Shit.
That was my thought process. By the end of 2020, Tenzin wouldn't really speak to me.
That's so tragic. This is brutal. The second episode is
I told you it was gonna be
this is tough,
I told you this was gonna be not good.
Yeah.
But kids, year after year, are being put through this. Most people and parents just protect their kid and take them out.
Yeah.
Well, because what can you do?
Exactly.
Like, you can't.
And if you tried to do other things, then you watch families get ripped apart, like Jensen and his mom getting absolutely ripped apart from each other. And
You
you're
get
like,
buried by lawyers because
Right.
that main Tiffany's breaking in so much cash, she's just going to sue the shit out of you.
Right. Tiffany convinces your kid to file for emancipation. I mean,
we all knew the wrath was coming.
Oh God, Wrath is going to be episode 3.
How is the wrath worse than this wrath?
After we left the squad, Piper's video got posted about our kids. This was very coached.
There's not me telling, there's no adult, there's no one.
100% Piper's decisions when the entire thing is orchestrated by adults.
He says there's no adult while being an active adult.
I know.
That's Hunter filming the content.
I know.
I'm sure that this also instigates other kids that are following Piper.
Yeah,
to
try
unfollow,
and break
and then
their...
obviously they're writing terrible comments to them.
I was only 13, and I was getting hate from all across the world.
it's hard to see a negative comment as an adult.
I know.
And then to imagine that you're a child and then you're getting all of these hate comments and all of these people that are mad at you. I can't even imagine it.
I don't know if they were orchestrated by Tiffany or bots.
It's shockingly easy to buy fake accounts to post
Yeah.
hate too. And they're very, very wealthy people. So the idea that they
could
have
easily-
Hunter who knows how to navigate these types of spaces. It's
Really
kids.
messed up.
You're attacking kids. Like, if this is true,
Yeah.
she's attacking children. Why? Like,
And they're gone now.
what?
Let them go.
Right. Let them go, man.
They're not posting shit about this.
No.
They're just trying to get away.
They don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, but she can't stand the injury of
Yeah.
having them leave. And then
Yeah.
especially having them leave and say it's because of you. And there was a mass exodus
Yeah.
at the end of the last episode, right? So not everybody, but a large couple of people left.
Yeah.
And then that shows cracking in the system of power. And then there's going to be a reaction, which is Tiffany cyberbullying people, allegedly.
Allegedly.
All of the kids' social media was just tanking and getting no views. The audience didn't even know that Sawyer had left.
And they're saying that the fans didn't know that Sawyer had left when the drop off happened.
Oh, that's
so it happened before it was even
interesting.
announced. It was an immediate drop off when he left,
Oh.
when the fans didn't even know he had left.
Interesting. Yeah, because you wouldn't expect to
This
see
is
anything.
analytics can be very useful.
My YouTube channel has never been the same. Everything I worked for.
Wow. That's his whole life.
Yeah, and he was passionate about it before that's a middle part of his career. He was building it before that. That's why he got brought on. That's horrible.
Sabotage by people that I thought wanted to help me.
And he thought that that was going to be an opportunity, and instead just
It
ruined his
ruined his
career.
career.
It's for now. He could still come back from that. He's young
When
enough,
you're
but
as
it would
young as he
feel
is, though,
dramatic and
Yeah.
traumatizing, and it would feel like forever because
Right.
he spent years, his like late adolescence,
Right.
It was ruined by these people.
And you don't know what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
it's like, if I start something else, are they going to do the same thing? How many people do they know?
How long are they going to blacklist me and follow
Right.
me around?
The stories that the parents had told us about what was going on were just the tip of an iceberg.
Oh, no. I don't like it because we heard about the tip of the iceberg and it wasn't good, man.
The emotional abuse they went through, the verbal abuse they went through, the sexual abuse they went through.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, even the kissing and stuff is still sexual abuse because they were compartmentalized.
We were not prepared to hear
Oh no.
stories of the sexual stuff.
I'm not prepared either. I really, yeah.
I don't think they're going to share too much, honestly.
I hope that they don't. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope they share enough for people to get the kind of messaging about
Yeah.
how scary these types of things
Yeah.
are, because this is like a cautionary tale
And how it's
in
not
a lot
okay.
of ways.
And that's why
Yeah.
so many of these people are doing it.
It made me feel like I didn't protect her.
Well, you never think that's going to be the outcome. Especially when they interacted with Tiffany on a regular basis.
Yeah.
These people, quite a few, especially her, but a lot of them knew Tiffany, but they only knew the face that she was showing them.
Yeah.
We're their moms. We were supposed to protect them, and we didn't. We couldn't. We didn't know.
My mom didn't know. I think I was just embarrassed at all this stuff.
Classic outcome.
Yeah. Well, because you feel like, I mean, even
It's
kids,
your
they
fault.
feel like it's their fault. They feel
Yeah.
embarrassed about what's happening. They feel like they should be doing something. Or
Yeah,
it's
what did I
happening-
do that caused this to happen?
It's happening to someone else too, so it's
Yeah.
more normalized,
Yeah.
even though you know that it doesn't feel like it's it's right. And if you tell your mom, and then you know that she's gonna try and get you to leave,
And
and
then
these
you're
are your
gonna get
friends, this is your
ostracized,
life,
you're gonna
right?
get
You get
ripped out.
bullied. When you're a kid too, you're so
You don't know
impressionable.
any
You
better.
don't really know.
Yeah.
If you were a parent, you put your kids in these squads, you're to blame too. I don't care if you knew or you didn't know. You still put your kids in this situation.
It's really hard because I believe that, and I also
Yeah.
believe that they got their kids out when they could and for the reasons that they could. But I also believe that they have accountability. I mean, the one mom
Yeah.
said, she's like,
I felt like I didn't protect her.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
didn't. She said I didn't.
And
You
there's
know?
truth to that.
Yeah.
So
They ultimately become complicit in their own child's exploitation.
It's so strange because the cult-like aspects of it, the controlling personality, the manipulation.
yeah,
I mean,
manipulation of
certainly
children and parents.
That plays
like,
into it. And
yeah.
also you have a responsibility to protect your kid and you didn't,
Yeah.
you know?
We weren't allowed to hang out with other people. We weren't allowed to talk to anyone who had left the squad.
It sucks because, I mean, these are all the
Yeah.
ways in which it's cult-like, because immediately when she's saying that stuff, I'm like, but you're an adult.
Yeah.
You can't have another adult telling you who you can and can't hang out with. And yet we know cults exist, and we know that that's something that they do. And it's something people fall prey to.
And they prey on so many people, and everybody's like, I'm better than that, and a lot of people are not.
Yep.
You know all the consequences of even just crossing her.
And you don't want your kid to get ruthless, because once you're in, the danger here is once you're in, you're fucked.
Yes.
And they don't know that until they're already screwed over.
Yeah.
He didn't want me to be upset about something that had happened to him and do something because he knew the consequences of upsetting her.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of the kids knew that she was dangerous, unstable. Like, they weren't able to have conversations with their parents about some of the things that were happening.
They just won't even talk about it.
You have the emotional manipulation going on in the background, where you have these kids being told that their parents are not advocating for them. They're not doing things in your best interest.
That Jansen kid who just doesn't even talk to his mom, of course. Apparently, as far as this documentary so far is concerned, still.
Yeah.
So many people, instead of trying to hear it out, just automatically thought that we were faking it.
And people misunderstanding you online like that, and there's no amount, whether they're bot accounts or whether they're trolls or people online that are purposefully misunderstanding you, like, you can't correct the narrative.
I know.
Like, someone could say to you, oh, you did it all for money, and you never actually cared about Piper. And for a lot of these kids, I believe them when they say that, like,
they were friends.
They were friends. Yeah. They cared about this person. Like, that wasn't fake. Like, I believe all of these people and their stories about what happened. And at the same time, the internet, like, you can't...
It's vicious.
Yeah, and you can't change people's opinions sometimes.
We're warning people so they don't have to go through what we did.
Everything I'm hearing, everything I'm seeing, it feels sincere.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing nervous tics, like her twirling her hair, just the looks, the way they talk about it.
Absolutely.
The emotion, this all feels very legit.
And it's so many people saying so many similar stories.
Yeah. And it's also just a thing that happens.
Totally.
And I'm inclined to believe already.
But it's
something this
hard.
big is rarely. This would have to be such an orchestrated conspiracy of dozens of people to take down Piper. It's ridiculous, frankly, at this point. And the fact that they're putting their faces all over this and doing these documentaries and these Inside Edition specials and all that shit, it's like virtually impossible to be faked.
Yeah.
Mr. Hill, would you raise your right hand, please?
Hunter Hill.
This guy's gross. I'm sorry.
He's creepy.
No.
Yeah. Creepy.
I can't believe you'd participate in all of this.
He's a central part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So integral.
Well, there's like the number one and the right hand man.
It sucks too, because all these kids, for them, he was a peer.
Yeah.
He wasn't though. He was never their peer.
Yeah.
He was always much older than them.
Adult.
He was always an adult.
Hunter seems like a good guy on the surface.
Don't they all?
Does he?
Don't they all seem like good guys though? That's the problem. Is like it's the actions, not just that like.
I think he's really just a weak man that's being controlled by Tiffany.
A weak man being controlled with shots fired. Was that Sawyer?
Woo!
Yeah.
Wise beyond his years. Sawyer.
Yeah, Sawyer knows what the fuck is up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 20-something, you should be able to stick up for yourself.
I think especially when children are involved and you're seeing a bunch of innocent people being harmed.
And then at the same time, isn't the same argument for the parents an argument like for and against Hunter, which he had a responsibility to these kids that trusted him. And also, he's part of this weird cult environment around Tiffany, who is like the central figure that everyone is capitulating to.
He's done too much damage. A
100%.
lot of the parents don't even know what's going on, okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are vaguely exploiting their kids for money. But not to the extent that Hunter's participating in it, based on those testimonials of him like basically participating in the essay and like joking around with Tiffany in front of the kids and shit, like totally inappropriate, and he's complicit. He's too far complicit for me to honestly having sympathy for where his position in the cult.
I completely agree, and I don't think I would describe it as sympathy, but just the complexity of the situation.
Because he's probably being harmed or abused in some way as well, potentially. I don't know.
And maybe,
yeah. Or he's just addicted to the power like she is. Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Or in so deep with the cult. I mean, normally don't cult leaders have like one or two right-hand people?
Yeah, they like
that's
never break
Hunter
rank.
For her.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like it's my fault, because if I didn't hang out with these people that did something so terrible to me, I feel like this wouldn't be happening to my family.
It's my fault. That sucks.
And you have to wonder, both sides are sad. Is she being told to say that, which is terribly sad?
Yeah.
Or does she really feel
Does she actually
that
believe
way?
that at this point?
Also very sad.
Yeah.
Piper is on Brand Army.
You can be as young as 13 to actually create content on there. In order for people to subscribe to that content, they have to be at least 18.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry, you have to be 18 and you can subscribe to content for 13-year-olds, because that feels like predator. Like, that feels like a wild west for predators.
It is. So that's what we're being told right now.
That's horrifying.
You can create as a 13-year-old, but you have to be 18 to subscribe. That's insane.
I'm sorry. I've never heard of Brand Army before, and I cannot believe
that's disgusting.
Predators can take advantage of these kids in so many ways.
And in situations like this,
who needs a dark web when it's right in front of you?
You can't tell me Tiffany doesn't know that that's what's happening.
She does. Everything we've seen, allegedly, she does.
My heart hurts for Piper seeing her on something like that, and who knows if she even has a decision in being on it.
Everything she films, because they're going to say, film it again.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up and follow the script. You have no way of knowing whether or not that's what's happening.
Well, and it's just her mom and Hunter around her 24/7.
Wild.
Those are the adults responsible for her, and they've been exploiting her since she was a child, allegedly.
Shortly after the lawsuit, we were contacted by the FBI. They won't try a case unless they know they have a smoking gun.
It feels wild to me. I feel like if you got a what do you call it when you search people's property?
A warrant?
If they got a warrant, I feel like they'd find something, but I guess I'm not a judge and whatever.
They walk a very interesting line, and they live in a gray area, and they know that. They're living in a legal gray area.
And that's what Brandon, I think, said. That's what we said. Like, there's not enough regulation around this.
What is really happening with child influencing? I think one of the biggest misconceptions is not seeing it as work, especially for the kids.
I mean, it takes a lot of time to film a few videos a week where we're just reacting to content on the TV. It takes a ton of time to do that.
Yeah.
They're orchestrating all this, acting it out, doing takes.
Yeah.
Like, that's a massive, that's their entire lives. Is what we've heard from the kids.
Doing brand campaigns, taking pictures, filming their life. For sure, that's work.
Illinois is the first state in the country to ensure children featured in social media videos with their families are compensated for their work.
But then what happens is when they have a bunch of money, they just move to a state that doesn't require it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's where they're going to do it. I know it's better than nothing. It's just frustrating because it feels like the problem is so much bigger than that.
There's the federal versus state law discussion.
It is good to have it in California, though.
Yeah.
Like,
it's good.
I feel like I'm being really negative about the fact
No,
that it's
but
in
you're
California,
right.
But
it's why companies do that all the time. You just move to Texas
state,
or move to, I don't know. It's always Texas. It's where there's no regulation.
Delaware has really low usury laws, so that's where you see a lot of credit card companies.
Oh, is that what it is?
Because they can charge higher interest rates because they're incorporated in Delaware,
Oh,
even though they're serving the entire country.
I don't know how you figure out a way to regulate or to send a monitor into somebody's backyard or living room.
That's the problem. These sets are so small. It's not a large scale production.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna raise the alarm? Like, who's gonna say this isn't meeting regulations? Like, I don't know how you do that.
Then the only thing you have is if they get caught later, they get in trouble. But there's no way to prevent it, really.
Yeah.
Still.
I don't know about no way either, but it's just not good.
A difficult way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parents should not allow children to be put in a position where they can be exploited or harmed.
I hear that argument, but they are.
Yeah,
they are doing it. So when we live in a society where parents will and are doing that, then there have to be laws to prevent them from doing it or to deter them from doing it.
They are.
Right.
They do. Parents should, but parents don't, all the time, or this content wouldn't exist.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree. Don't do it. The least we could do is find ways to make it safer. But what the hell that even means? Like you're saying, for the people that won't listen to reason.
What Tiffany and Hunter were generating in revenue is hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah, the money is the problem because the money is the root of like the power and then all of this, unfortunately.
They shouldn't just consume this kind of content without recognizing the harm that it's causing.
But again, the people that are consuming the content, maybe not across the board for everybody, with at least with certain accounts, is a majority predators.
Yeah.
Straight up predators.
So they don't care.
So they don't give a fuck.
No, the people consuming the content
Yeah.
are largely predators, if you
Yeah.
believe the data. And if that's true, then how are you not going to take the incentive
Yeah.
is right there. Like, the incentive exists for them to click on the content.
Yeah.
It's not good people that are clicking on content not knowing what they're doing. It's people that know exactly what they're clicking on it
Yeah.
for, and they don't care that it's
Yeah.
exploitative.
Even-
In fact, that may add to their experience.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
We just wanted people to know what happens, what can happen.
Yeah, because a lot of these people felt like they didn't
Yeah.
know and they didn't see the red flags. And hopefully people will watch this and then maybe they'll think twice about allowing their child to be involved in something like
Yeah.
this, or putting their child's face out there, allowing them to be an influencer while they're still under 18.
We're still relatively in the early Wild West era of this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And if they can't take back what happened to their kids, at least they can hopefully stop it from happening to other kids.
There's a victim in all of this who isn't represented at this table and may not know she's a victim. And that's Piper.
Well, she's still a minor.
And who she's being monitored at all times, and we should believe that Tiffany has access to all of her accounts. Like, what's she
Yeah.
gonna do?
What's she gonna do?
I just want her to know that it's not her fault. I don't want her to blame herself for anything.
Even after I really appreciate this from the people that got out, is they did an attack video on all the people that left the cult.
Yeah.
But she's still sitting here saying it's not your fault and we miss you.
Yeah.
And that's very sweet. I'm glad that all the kids that got out like connect with each other too. At least a lot of them,
Yeah.
and they're like still friends and stuff. Wow.
I think that documentary series is incredibly difficult to watch, and at the same time I think is probably really important in the day and age that we live in
Yeah.
to like be aware of,
Yeah, honestly.
because there's so much that they talk about that I just feel like people don't think about when they see like a cute video of
Mhm.
what they perceive as just like a cute video online,
Mm.
and you really just don't know like
Everything behind it.
everything behind it.
Yeah.
And there's been so much, I think there have been so many people that have come out and spoken out on behalf of like child actors, like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Talked about what happened to him.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, Jeanette
Yeah.
McCurdy.
Yeah.
Talked about what happened to her. And child influencers are in a very similar situation and are obviously like in positions where the exploitation potential is huge and
Greater than almost anywhere else.
Absolutely.
If they have a parent that's invested in exploiting them, they're
Mhm.
screwed.
Yeah.
It seems like.
And there
is
are
the
really
takeaway.
not any laws to protect them.
Yeah.
Or very few. I shouldn't say none, because they talked about at the end
They-
a few laws like Coogan.
Yeah.
Well, no, the Coogan law is for actors, but they have something similar now in Illinois and California
Yeah.
for.
But sounds light. Like they must be compensated. That's not anywhere near
Yeah.
what sounds like adequate protection.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't love the narrative that was like put forth at the end of the documentary that there's no way to do it. I don't think that
Yeah.
that's true. I don't know what the way is, but I think just taking the way out of saying parents need to protect their own kids, they're not always going to.
I know, and there were a few moments too where, and it was either the kids or the adults saying it, but they were like, I hope that people stop clicking on these
Yes.
videos. Well, they won't.
They won't.
The hoping that things are going to get better, that people just stop like engaging in this, is about as effective as like thoughts and prayers for school shootings. It's not going to do anything. It's going to just continue this while we watch on in horror. I get where that comes from. It's like, well, I can't do anything personally, and some of these people are involved in lawsuits on this and shit, so they're actually doing about as much as anybody can.
Yeah.
So all you can do after doing everything you can is hope that it changes or people
Yeah.
wisen up to it, but it's not enough, and that's a sad reality.
I also
Yeah.
I feel very complicated about watching all these parents, because I do feel like at points in this, like I'm angry at
Yeah.
them for like
letting their kids get caught up in this.
and not taking their kids out of situations sooner, that there
Or
were
even
so many
engaging
red
in it.
flags.
Yeah.
it really is frustrating watching them. And also the kind of like cult-like influence that Tiffany had over some of these people, the level of manipulation and control that she was displaying over their lives, and the fear, the very real fear that some of these people had that they would be like ripped away from their children. Like that is there at the same time. And then the fact that they did something like this Netflix documentary and other avenues like the Inside Edition content that they did
on the lawsuits,
where they're being very public about their commitment to tell a story that does not put any of them in a good light, and I think that they know that.
And I think, and that should be noted here too, because they're not coming out of this scot-free.
No.
And quite a few of them admitted that on the video.
Yeah.
I think people generally only do that I think generally when there's a degree of truth to it.
So for them to do something like this, they're subjecting themselves to even more public scrutiny, and they can't change what happened to their kids, and they're still doing this because they don't want it to happen to other kids. Like, I don't know, it's complicated. I have complicated feelings about it.
like
you know,
they're putting in this documentary some of their lowest points.
Yeah.
Some of their greatest failures as parents.
Yeah.
That can't be discounted. You know what I mean? So like I've said it. I said it early on. One of the people that was later on crying, I felt really bad for her. Early on, I'm like, was it the paycheck that was keeping her around? Suddenly she's mad and she's seeing more things when she leaves. But like that can be true while also watching these people be like absolutely like kind of beat up by this.
Yeah.
And like I said, sharing their worst failures as parents. Yeah. Because I don't think probably much would top this.
You can tell that it's like eating at a lot of them in a way that like I feel awful that the repercussions of this aren't being felt by the people that need to feel it. And my opinion is that's Tiffany and Hunter.
Yeah.
As like the most, the people that were most in control of the situations, had the biggest ability to not do what they did and actively engaged in alleged, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse of the kids that trusted them.
Yeah.
And their families trusted them.
Well, and they're the ones that are still engaging in it, and the ones that have denied all of it, and the ones that have covered for it. So, yeah.
And as sad as it is, and I know the ending is very sad because Piper's still in the situation, but it's also really sad how many of those kids are traumatized by what they went through. And you can really see it when they're talking about what happened.
You can see from their impacts too, them being like, I don't want to be on the internet anymore at all. It's really tragic.
Yeah, it's really sad. And it's like, I think it's also terrifying how many other kids this could be happening to that just don't have a big enough platform to end up as part of a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, because this is scratching the surface.
Yeah.
For all this shit.
Yeah, it's weird because like we exist in a space on the internet that I'm so grateful exists, and more.
I feel very
and more,
fortunate.
I'm just not sure that children should be a part of it at all. I'm not sure that there's like any. I would be interested in what other people think too, but like I'm not sure there's any reason that we should even have child influencers. Like I'm not sure there's any reason a child should be the main component, or maybe even any component of like a YouTube video, and a monetized YouTube video.
All right, well, our phone just died because we recorded for about 3 hours, and that was the extent of my battery life.
I think that we got cut off, so I'm going to re-say that I would be really interested to hear what people have to say based on your different experiences about this topic in general, because at the end, you and I were just talking about the fact that it's hard to see why this should be allowed at all, and like why kids should be allowed, like people under 18 should be allowed to be influencers in any capacity because of the potential for exploitation. So especially, like we're not parents. If you're a parent, like how do you handle something like, how do you feel about something like this?
Like what are your rules that you have around like social media use? Like yeah.
And how do you keep your kids safe when you've got like a wild west in social media right now where the laws aren't going to do it because they don't exist, and other people aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Like how do you how do you manage that?
Gotta watch your own back because nobody else has it. It feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right. And
Yeah.
what would you do if your child was hanging around someone that you felt like this was happening to
Yeah.
the other kid? Like, how do you handle something like that?
I think we did see a lot of examples of the different ways people handled it, but
yeah,
much different results. Yeah.
Right. Well, and this is even a little bit later, right? Because a lot of this has already happened, like the
Yeah.
lawsuits in the past, you know?
Yeah.
So we're looking
22
at
and 24.
Right, we're looking at a year later. Like, what do you do now with that, like, new knowledge? It was a heavy topic today. It's
Yeah,
not always
very.
heavy over here. Normally we're idiots.
Yeah.
So
We'll probably go back to being idiots next time.
for sure. If you liked the video, click the like button. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to our channel.
Or drastically different than this. Also
sure,
subscribe.
like both, you know?
Yeah.
We're either really stupid or
Way too serious.
we watch like documentaries. So it's really,
Yeah.
you know, you never really know what you're going to
really
get.
know.
Mostly stupid, like 90%
Mostly
stupid, you know? Like
That's
10% serious.
Our guarantee.
Yes.
The membriash guarantee.
The membriash guarantee. Don't say guarantee because I don't know what.
No, it's about.
Why not? This is a 90-10
It's not legally
guarantee,
binding.
man.
All right.
Right.
All
Not
right.
legally binding. There's no laws on social media, so
Yeah.
we can say whatever we want.
It's a
apparently.
suggestion. All right.
Thank you for
Thank
watching.
you for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
Then I got it knocked, and I started going,
Ridiculous.
Oh, that was a tearjerker.
Hey, we're gonna go on a cruise this summer. You should come with us.